Thank you for joining this morning here at Theriot. We're celebrating the 20th anniversary of this school building. It is a one-of-a-kind school building. And so excited to be here. I just passed my first year as superintendent of the Clark County School District. It's been an exciting time, increased graduation rates, increased proficiency rates, moving toward and becoming the destination district with all of our staff, our families, our administration, all of you, media. Thank you for being here today. And it's a great time. I'm really excited about the accomplishments that we've had this year with operations. If you ask any school principal across our school district, they will tell you how our food service, our transportation, all of those components of education that we normally don't talk about every day, the team is really doing a great job. So I stand ready to answer any questions you may have for the one-year anniversary.
Throughout this 1 year, you have really tackled with the legislature and community leaders public safety. We have the school traffic safety working group.
Yes.
And that's an all-hands-on-deck effort to make sure kids go back and forth safely from school. If you could summarize for us where that's at, and if you could break down for parents what they expect to hear from this.
So last August, we joined with Clark County and pulled together all of the municipalities, the city of Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, Henderson, Boulder City, everyone, the county itself, to bring together a task force to specifically address our roads coming to and from school, right? We, within the Clark County School District, all of our buildings, these beautiful buildings we maintain. But then once you go out into the roads, it's the municipalities. And so that working group, first, I'm very glad that everyone came together to sit around the table. It's the first of its kind within Southern Nevada. Started working, and if we could have what we want, what would we have? What do we need to do differently to support our children and our families going to and from school? So started with a list. We were very fortunate that the legislature and the governor called a special session because we were able to have a bill during that session. And one of the major pieces of that bill is just being able to have control of the traffic lights outside of the school. In the past, the municipalities would have to ask Carson City if they could change the timing of the lights. And so now with this bill, the municipalities have. So that's just one piece that I'm very proud of. That report will come out here shortly of the rest of the body of work that they've been looking at to continue working together to make sure that going to and from school, that our children are safe and that drivers slow down, people are concentrating, but obeying the law when they're in and around our school buildings.
And on that note, on public safety, families are anxious for stop arm cameras. I know you all are working through various legal and operational concerns. Is there any insight you can give in terms of what hurdles you all are looking for a potential rollout?
Yeah, so we've, it's been very interesting to dig in on stop arm cameras with large urban school districts across the rest of the nation, what they've been doing, what went well in their implementation, what didn't go well. And so gathering all that information has been critical. We want to be successful in the implementation in around our school buses. And so that analysis is continuing, and then we'll be able to push it out once it's complete.
Transportation question right here. Can you talk about the status of the bus driver shortage? And when it comes to the new start times, is it helping or is it hurting, or how's it impacting parents who have to take their kids to multiple different schools?
Yeah, so we don't have a bus driver shortage right now. We will be adding bus drivers into the future for next year with the change in the start times. Excited about it. We know we have both sides of the coin. People saying, yes, I'm really excited about the new start times. No, I'm not. And I think it's an adjustment. We were the only school district in the nation that had a 7 a.m. start time, expecting our children, not just a 7 a.m. start time, but expecting our children to be in their seats, ready to learn at 7 a.m. there's nowhere else in the nation that anyone does that. And so using the research, using the input from families, we are happy to make that change across the school district. We'll be tracking the data, and we should see, or we're expecting that we'll see improved student outcomes because of the change in start times.
Any advice to parents who have to drop their kids off at multiple different schools?
They've had to drop their students off at different schools before, so that part I don't see changing. We do have routing, for parents that live more than 2 miles away from the school. So, and we'll be providing that transportation.
And any update on the surplus of teachers? How's that shaking out in terms of assigning teachers to new schools?
Yeah, so we follow the teacher's contract. We have just right around 200 teachers that are going through the surplus process at this point in time. When it started, it was over 700 educators, and so they've been able to find jobs as we've been going through the process, and that's continuing. And we fully expect that we'll get, I'm shooting for 100% of our teachers placed.
I have a two-part question, Superintendent Ebert. So this is touching on what Jacqueline, on the question you answered for Jacqueline. But yesterday and today, you had students hit by cars. This morning, it was a student with a bicycle. Yesterday, it was near Las Vegas High School. A kid was hit by a car. And I know this year, CCSD PD, as of like first week of April, was about 300 kids that were hit by cars. So I just wanted to see if you can comment on that. And then also, what message do you want to send to the community, because this week alone, yesterday you had a campus security monitor, then you had a former Cram middle school teacher indicted, and then you had an assistant principal at Canyon Springs High School who was sentenced all for child sex crimes. And I know some of this predates your time as superintendent, but what message do you want to send to the community when they're seeing these headlines of CCSD staffers arrested or sentenced or charged?
Yeah, in both of your questions, Joshua, number one, not acceptable. Not acceptable in any way, shape, or form that adults are speeding in around of our schools, that there's inappropriate contact with our students. None of that is appropriate. And so working with law enforcement and the judicial system, making sure that they are prosecuted to the full extent of the law, that is what will transpire. Also working with, again, municipalities to see if there are things that we as a school district need to be doing differently. 100% of our staff are fingerprinted. They are background checked with FBI background check as well. So in hiring practices, all of those components are there. So yes, no, any of those components, not acceptable, not in CCSD, and they will be dealt with.
Superintendent Ebert, I was planning to ask you about the same thing because I've been trying to ask that and get in front of you to have the same conversation. Obviously, CCSD is the 5th largest district in the nation. That means so many things are going on. You can't be everywhere at once. But how can you go a little bit more into that delicate process and that heavy lift? Because vetting and fingerprinting and making sure everybody is good to go doesn't mean none of us can predict what can happen when a school employee turns into a alleged predator.
Yeah, so I mean, you nailed it on the head, right? We go through our processes in hiring that any business would. When any instance happens, and the point is to drive it to zero. Number one, to know that they will be dealt with. They should not be anywhere near our children, and they will be dealt with. We, on the hiring component of that, making sure that our administrators and our children, that if something is transpiring, if they see a friend that doesn't look right, that our children have voice and that they're speaking with adults. So all of those components have to be in place. We all need to be diligent in moving forward to driving those instances to zero across the entire county. It's not just happening in Clark County School District schools. It's happening in charter schools. It's happening in private schools. The headline just the other day. So as a community, we need to come together and make sure that they know that that we are together as a community, and our children need to be safe.
Is there anything that you're doing education-wise for parents, guardians, and students to talk about the importance of being able to go to a trusted adult at their school district?
Yes, always. We do have that within the school district. We do have it within lessons with our students at multiple levels, starting early on with our elementary students. And I'm sure a principal here can talk to you about that as well, all the way through graduation.
Real quick question, pivoting back to stop arm cameras. You had talked about some of the issues that larger school districts in other states are dealing with in terms of a rollout. If you can elaborate more, we keep on getting questions from parents because they want to see their kids safe at the school bus stop.
Yeah, so I mean, it starts right with just the contract of how you make sure that the school district doesn't end up in a position where we believe that we're not paying for certain things on the implementation of the stop arm cameras, and that it's not a cost to the school districts. So other school districts across the nation have had to put in initial investments that they weren't expecting. So again, I feel blessed that I get to lean in on the work that other school districts have completed before we implement here in Southern Nevada.
What would you say to parents who are really afraid of their kids walking to or from school every day, whether it is to the bus stop, or in a school zone? Parents there's so much anxiety with the numbers and the incidents we keep on seeing.
Yeah, our parents need to speak with their children going to and from school. In some of those instances, the children are not obeying the traffic laws themselves. They're not, looking left, looking right, looking left again. And so making sure that our children are educated as well as they're coming to and from school, that parents are having that communication. We have our Safe Route to Schools where we have those events within our schools to make sure that the children know. And so it is all of us coming together to make sure that everyone is educated.
Okay, guys, a couple more seconds. There's a couple that haven't got a chance to ask.
Yeah.
Rocio's over here.
Rocio, yeah.
I wanted to switch topics a little bit and ask about any future goals that you have for your next school year. I know one thing I've heard you talk about, and I think I even saw it again in a recent press release, was the idea of the instructional days we have one of the shortest, I think you said.
Yes.
And I think you've also mentioned about the school year, maybe possibly extending that. I don't know if that's anything that you want to pursue in this upcoming legislative session.
Thank you. So a couple of things. Really excited. We're expanding middle school athletics. That's one thing that parents and families have asked for at the middle school level. I just found out this morning here at this elementary school they have football and cheer as well. So making sure that activities beyond the school day, because that's a whole child, that students have access to activities and those types of things. Specifically for the school day, yes, would love to see the amount of time that our children are in school expanded so they have opportunities for more project-based learning, hands-on components, all of those pieces. We're also looking at innovation within our high schools. We have several that do a wonderful job and turning the learning back to the child and not just about the teacher teaching the child the concepts, but what is it that our students are interested in, and making sure that early on they each identify their path. So if I want to be a marine biologist, I know that as a freshman, I need to take algebra, I need to be in biology. Those courses are the ones that I want to take because I want to be a marine biologist or I want to be a dentist, whatever the case may be. It's not because you're in 9th grade and these are the courses that you have to take. So shifting the learning back to the students and the families so that they are really engaged. It's going to be the year of the partnerships. Expanding and making sure that all of our partners have access. I'm very happy that this year we had over $15 million in philanthropic dollars that were made available for us to move in this direction. And so it's going to be an exciting year ahead. Those are some of the things that I would mention. Yes, Spencer.
I wanted to ask on the topic of school start times again. I understand that CCSD recently audited some of the proposed changes that it was going to make to school start times, where some schools were said to be moving to a later start time, an earlier start time, but then CCSD has reverted that. I was wondering what goes into that auditing process, and how many schools have had a start time announced but is now changed after that initial start time announcement.
Yeah, so it's a process. We go through, we asked all of the principals to work and submit the start times. And that's one thing, first of all, when we announce the shift, it's not a hard stop for any one of our schools, a hard start, for any one of our schools, but it is fluid from the 7:30 a.m. start to the 9:15 a.m. start. We may have a school start at 7:45 a.m. Specifically to your question in regard, any other schools that we've taken a second look at, it's only been one. And that was the initial determination, just looking at it, revisiting it, and you know, it is, we'll be looking across as we move forward and looking forward to the next school year with the new start times.
Which school was that, and why'd you revisit it?
The principal asked us to revisit the school, and that was Booker Elementary School.